we need to talk about Telegram. The platform has long been known as a go-to app for criminals thanks to the inability to track users through the Messenger app. But recently, some disturbing discoveries have been made about just some of the twisted groups that call Telegram their home. Before we get into the topic, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on the video, but also give you a warning that the content we're going to discuss today is incredibly disturbing, so viewer discretion is advised. But without further ado, let's get into the content. For a lot of people around the world, Telegram is just like any other social media. It's a place where you can chat to friends, share pictures, share videos, but some people use it for much darker reasons. Let's go back to where it all began, when Russian businessman Pavel Durov founded the app in 2013. It was designed to be a secure alternative to other messaging apps amid concerns about government surveillance and data privacy. Their main goal was to create a place where the user, the person who downloaded the app, had complete control over their data. End-to-end encryption between two users was initially the big selling point of the app, but as they began to introduce things like group chats and discussion channels, the app grew to new heights, unprecedented heights, because people realised that this was a place where they could talk about anything without anyone finding out. But not everyone used it as a place to discuss the latest TV shows, video games, movies, because some criminals saw it as the perfect place to start their enterprise without the fear of any consequences. With completely private chats and messages that quote-unquote self-destruct after being read, it seemed like the perfect place. It's no surprise that people came here to keep their conversations away from prying eyes. At the start, people could even create accounts without so much as a phone number, making your username and what you say in your chats basically the only thing that could ever link back to you. They felt even more secure in using the app for illegal purposes when the CEO and founder stood his ground on not handing over any Telegram data to the authorities. But police were so concerned that in 2024, they actually issued a warrant for his arrest in France. He was put under an official investigation by the French authorities for complicity in running a platform that allowed for illicit content and material. And on that, the platform has also received criticism for not being a member of the National Centre for Missing and Exploited Children or the Internet Watch Foundation. These two entities would assist in taking down any content on Telegram that included kids. So it is more than a bit concerning when you think about it that way, and it's really no surprise that at this point, agencies around the world started to get more and more concerned. After all, the NCMEC and the IWF had both made attempts to get in touch with Telegram, but the platform and company remained completely unwilling. And now, with a new German investigation, we're seeing yet another disturbing example of what's going on behind closed doors. A German study has revealed that over 70,000 men were involved in a Telegram group chat that discussed how to rape and women. They came from a variety of countries but spoke primarily in English. A lot of the members also claimed to have previously assaulted women in their households, such as wives, partners, mothers, and sisters. Disturbingly, they even share tips and tricks on how others can do the same. They share pictures with each other, some even live streaming the assaults on the group. And similar to another case happening in France at the minute, a German user even offered to drug his wife and offer her up to other people on the group without her consent. Some users in the group were even sharing links to online shops that sold sedatives disguised as women's hair products. This is obviously concerning for all the obvious reasons, but also because they were so confident in what they were doing and that they wouldn't get caught that they were fine to just have their method right under their victims' noses. I think to fully understand the extent of what's going on Telegram and the dark side, we need to explore other examples as well. You can easily buy drugs on Telegram through completely automated bots that make it so you can purchase hardcore substances with just a few clicks of a button. These encrypted apps have truly made it so the criminal underworld is completely accessible to anyone. Things like this only used to take place on the dark web on places like Silk Road and other sites, but since things like the shutdown of Silk Road and Operation Disrupt back in 2020, which saw almost 200 people arrested for dark web marketplaces, people have turned to these clear web platforms like Telegram to communicate with each other. With how unwilling the company is to hand over user data, it gives the criminals a sense of relief because they feel that their crime is in safe hands. And it's not just things like drugs either, because even extremist groups like ISIS have turned to the platform to recruit. Back in the mid-2010s, it became the sole platform that the terror group were using to recruit recruit new members. They had been banned from platforms like Twitter and Facebook, so they decided to move their propaganda elsewhere. They began to share execution videos with anyone who would willingly look, and even started to organise and plan out their attacks using the app. In 2017, a lot of these groups would be banned in a surprising move by Telegram themselves, but according to researchers, they have their suspicions that these groups are still very much out there, just hiding more under the surface. And as sad as it is, we also need to touch on CSAM content being shared through Telegram. A BBC investigation in 2019 found that predators were using the platform to share and distribute content. Disturbingly, they found that links to these groups were being shared openly in YouTube comment sections and other social media posts, meaning that essentially anyone could stumble upon it and get their hands on extremely distressing content. The BBC also managed to confirm that one of these groups contained hundreds of illegal images. Predators were also using the platform to groom kids, because thanks to the encryption, if they managed to get their soon-to-be victim to download the app, they could then carry out their plan and leave absolutely no evidence behind. They would have achieved their goal and there wouldn't be a breadcrumb for any possible police to follow. And there's no doubt that this is still happening nowadays. But what can really be done to prevent any more harm from being done? Obviously it's hard because Telegram's main thing is privacy, but it's clear by the many incidents over the years that something has to happen, and it has to happen now. Automated content detection would certainly be a step in the right direction, because I know that Telegram only employ about 50 full-time staff members, yet they have 900 million monthly active users. So obviously, unless they're willing to hire more staff, you can't have people just actively looking through for illegal material. But automated content detection would be a step in the right direction, because it could flag up stuff and then the moderators could look. It's what other platforms do, so it feels like it would be a step in the right direction, and I'm sure they could figure out some sort of privacy thing to put on it, so that the data is still private, but you're just not allowed to share illegal material. Improved transparency from the company would also be a great step. They've kind of already gone in this direction, because recently they agreed that they would hand over some user data if it could assist authorities in an ongoing investigation. And don't get me wrong, that's a fantastic step in the right direction, but I just hope that they keep continuing to move on this path. The examples that I told you about earlier are just the ones that we know about. There's no doubt that there are so many more of these groups hiding under the surface, and so many more victims that are keeping the story to themselves. I mean, think about the example of the German investigation. 70,000 men in that group. That is terrifying. And on transparency from the company, and basically just these last 2 points, I think that working with these groups like the National Centre for Missing and Exploited Children and the IWF could really be a step in the right direction to preventing CSAM content. Both organisations are clearly more than willing to help, so if Telegram is willing to even, discuss something with them, get something sorted, it could really make a big difference. There's no doubt in my mind that Telegram has to be one of the biggest apps not to be associated with them. And Telegram still claim that they are dedicated to keeping illegal content off of their platform, but it's all well and good if they say that, but we need to see it in practice. You can't say something and then not do it. We need examples, and so far we haven't really gotten any. I don't know if the arrest of the CEO has shook the company or something like that, because we have seen more developments recently and he is still on house arrest in Paris. So maybe thanks to his arrest we can figure something out, but he is still adamant that he is not guilty to the charges he's being accused of, and it's still an ongoing case, so I suppose we'll see what happens there. And importantly, we need awareness. Not only worldwide awareness, but awareness in schools, awareness with children and their parents, because one of the biggest aspects of this is the abuse of minors, and as long as that's going on, children are at risk. I know when I used to make videos on internet predators, a lot of them would speak through Telegram, and like I described earlier, if they can get their victim to download the app, then that's it. They can basically get away with it scot-free. I know a lot of people in my generation got groomed into downloading apps like Kik, so I just hope that another generation isn't being affected by this. Telegram's goal needs to be privacy, but it also needs to be balancing that with responsibility. At the end of the day, it's their platform, the content is being shared on their app, so it is their problem. It's their responsibility. I would be lying if I said I was overly confident that they were going to find that balance, but fingers are very much crossed. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. This has been the dark side of Telegram. If you did enjoy the video, like and subscribe would mean the world. Share the video, get awareness out there, and let me know your thoughts on Telegram, what you think they can do. 2025 is going to be a huge year for the platform, so let's hope that they take the right steps. Thank you so much to my Patreon supporters and YouTube members Brooke, Morrigan, Entrepreneur, K4 Silver, Alex Rod, and Based Finger. I appreciate your support as always, and you guys too for making it to the end of the video. I'll be back on Friday with another video, so make sure that you are tuned in. But have a brilliant rest of your week, and I will see you in the next one.